Okay, what I'm going to do is we'll start off with the slides and we'll do a quick check as to what do we want to learn from this session. All right. Hi, Chitra from HMA. That's fine. Dr. Shrikanta must be busy with other stuff. So Shrikanta says the first session here too. Okay. So Ahmed, this is your first session. Welcome to Learning Design Summit. Feel free to look at all the replays that are now available for sessions that have happened. Lot of great sessions, guys. If you are in the L&D domain, you will find massive value in those sessions that have already happened and sessions that are still to come. So feel free to look at the replays at the learningdesignsummit.com website. And do not miss on to sessions that have already happened. You may not get the live experience there, but you can still get the content. All right. So Achla, best practices in gamification in learning. I believe this is what you would like to learn. Fantastic. So we'll cover all of that. Fantastic. Good morning, Aditi. So guys, let's get started. So here we are. All righty. Okay. So gamification in e-learning, different approaches and examples is what my plan is today to cover with you guys today in this session. My name is Aman Deep Dubey. I work as Chief Learning Strategist with LearnTech, which is the learning design studio based out of Gurgaon. We work with different types of organizations to create better learning for their people and push the envelopes with what learning can achieve in their organization. So that's our expertise area. A little bit about me. Like I said, my name is Aman Deep Dubey. I have been working in the field of gamification for, I would say, 6+ years now. I've been an author. I've written a book on gamification. I also consult with organizations and coaches and different type of training organizations or content developers on how to implement gamification in their own product offering. I was recognized as the top 25 most promising HR consultants in India by Consultant Review magazine 2 years back. I'm like I said, I'm author of the book called Gamification for Training Leaders. This book is available on Amazon Kindle store. Feel free to buy it from there, or there will be an opportunity where you can download it for free today. I will be sharing that with you. Please follow me on LinkedIn and get connected with me. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn reading up discussions and connecting with people from different walks of L&D domain. So feel free to connect with me. I share a lot of stuff and I'll read a lot of stuff that people are posting. So it's a good way to connect and be in the know. I love speaking at conferences. So just mentioned a few, places where my talks were very well received. One of them was Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, ISTD, Indian Society for Training and Development. Amity International conducts various, HR and training related conferences. I've been a speaker there. Moving on, guys, this is the book that you're currently seeing on screen. It is called Training Leaders Guide to Leverage Gamification Successfully for Organization Learning. This book is the best rated book on gamification on Amazon India Kindle store. Feel free to buy it from there, or even better, I'm going to share a link with you where you could download it for free. So there you go, guys. I'm just going to be putting up a sticky note. That's right. So you see a blue colored sticky note right on top of the chat area. This is the place you could click to get to the book. Just put in your email ID and we will send the book to you. On the confirmation page, you can also see a link from where you can actually download the book. So book is out there. Feel free to pick it up, give me your feedback on how you're liking it, what more you would like in the next version, and things like that. Love to hear all the feedback on this book. I've received tremendous feedback from industry practitioners. All that is available on this link. So you, as you click on that link, please take a moment to look through what people are saying, so that you know that your time will be well invested going through the book. So, guys, if you are in the L&D domain, learning practitioners, gamification is of massive value that we're going to discuss today. This is what I thought could be the scope of the session. Now, I've been learning a lot from the speakers that I have been hosting, and I've been constantly hearing experts say co-creation and collaboration, and collaborative content generation, content creation on the go, on the fly. So things like that have really inspired me, and I want to take that route today. I'm going to call out all the things that I have planned for you, and I'm not going to follow them in the sequence that they are in. I'm going to leave it to up to you to decide which one you would like me to cover first, second, and there is also a space that I've thought of where we could do some interactive discussion, which means that if you are a learning practitioner toying with gamification, have implemented gamification in one or two initiatives, and you are looking to just find a sounding board where you can discuss your findings, your learnings, your wins and losses, how people reacted, what more we could have done, where we went wrong, where we went right. So things like those, I would love to have that interactive discussion for people who are up for it. And one of the other things that we could do is that if you are toying with the idea of how do I implement gamification in my own content or in my own organization, and you've got some starting ideas, then we'd love to do a hands-on session where we could look at what it is that you would like to build gamification around, what are some things that you would like to include in it, and then we'll work as a group and give you ideas on how you can proceed with that. So I think that's going to be the most exciting part of today's session. So the things that I have for you is, first, a basic run through on what gamification is. So understanding the concept, I did cover it in one of the earlier webinars, but I did receive a lot of emails saying that, Aman, could we have a live session on that again? So here we are. I'm happy to go through the basic concept of gamification all over again and work with an example, so that the concepts become clear to us. The second thing that I have in my presentation today is why gamification in e-learning. So if you're a learning practitioner and you haven't yet used gamification, I'm sure you've been tempted to. And why should we really gamify all the trainings that we are building? That's the case that I'm advocating. And I'm going to share some ideas on why plain vanilla e-learning has some limitations, and using the same rapid authoring tools, same content, how you can create more gamified versions of that training, which is going to create better engagement for your audiences. We're going to talk about that. You'll have to let me know which one of these you would like to cover first. Then we are going to go into understanding types of gamification. So within e-learning, there are different types of gamifications, and it's important for us that we understand as learning practitioners that which ones are which of my training topics are subject to what kind of gamification, and if I have to apply gamification to my content, what type of gamification should I apply to it, and what are the differences between different types, and what would be the implication on cost, on time that's required for development, and my SME engagement. So all those things we will talk about. Then I'll show you some examples of structural gamification. So structural gamification and content gamification are two types of gamification that we are going to talk about. I'll show you some examples of structural gamification. Then, although I do have some examples of content gamification, but it's going to be something that I will cover in detail on the webinar, that's planned a little ahead, which is on how to use simulations in training. So I'm going to be covering most of this there, but it's out here. If any of you are really, really interested, I can pull something up and show you how it looks and feels like. Point number 6 is, like I mentioned, I'm happy to do hands-on coaching on gamification application. So if you would like to share your particular use case, feel free, guys. Today is the session when we are going to, take bring you to these, as a speaker to the summit for a short while, where you could share what it is that you're looking to build. And, like I said, we can just co-create content for you. So there you go. It'll save you a lot of time wrecking your brain and picking somebody else's, maybe your peers, to figure out if your gamification is looking all right or not. And I'm happy to give my advice and also build on your ideas, so that once you go back from this session, you have something solid to work on. And point number 7 is interactive discussion on gamification, wins and losses. So this is the piece I think will be of most value, because I believe a lot of us here today in this room have toyed with the idea of gamification, implemented gamification in one or the other way, and we've had some learnings. I'm happy to really open the mics for everyone, so that we can have a more interactive discussion around gamification, wins and losses, our experience with it, and all the great things that we talked about a little earlier. So guys, now question is to you. Of these 1 to 7 topics, which ones would you say you would like covered first? So feel free to come into the chat area and just type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which of these topics you would like to jump into first, and then we are going to really go with the session as per what you guys say. Fantastic. As we figure out which one of these we want first, I'm going to just read out some questions that are being posted. So Gautam, thank you for this question. You're saying Aman Deep Dubey, gamification, second presentation in the summit. Rachna Kaura, consulting techniques. Shilpa Gautam's, okay. Shilpa, all right. Gautam session on ROI. And Jagmohan, that's right. So Jagdish's session on social learning. So fantastic, Gautam. Those were fantastic sessions. Thank you for letting me know which sessions you liked. Okay, would like to learn more about storyboarding for gamification. Some samples would greatly help. Fantastic. Both structural and serious games, please. So Gautam, I take that. I'm going to be sharing some examples of structural gamification today in the session. And if you're really interested in the content gamification piece, I will highly recommend that you attend the webinar on how to use simulations in training, where I'm going to go complete all out on all types of simulation approaches and examples and use cases, and how it impacts business and how one should go about building those simulations. However, if you're interested, we can still show you some examples of how these things look like, content gamification does look like for organization training. All right, so Achala, I hear you say start 3 onwards. Kunal says 3, Gautam says 3. Fantastic. Amit says 3, 4, 5. Gurpreet says hi Amal, unable to download the book. So Gurpreet, what you would need to do is, as you would put in your email ID and your name and email ID, it will take you to a page which will be the confirmation page. On that page itself, there is a button which says download book. You can just click there and download the book. Is it possible to share the PDF and handout? Yes, it's possible. We did it in the last webinar, and if you feel the need, we can do that again. So Monica, you're saying 3, 4, 5. Fantastic. And good morning, Beata. And you're saying 4 to 6. All right. Hands-on coaching. Fantastic. And Shrikanta, you're saying do go through 1 and 2 first, as we are quite new in the gamification domain. Sure, Shrikanta, I will go through 1 and 2 as well. Gurpreet, yes, I could share it. I will have to move away to look for that link, but allow me some time. In the course of the session, I will put that up in the handout area. However, in the meantime, I will get that checked why the book is not getting downloaded, because I just tried it yesterday and it was working fine. So let me just have that figured out. Also, offline, you could just send me a screenshot of what you're seeing and why you think it's not getting downloaded. So maybe there is something that I could learn from there. Figure out what's happening with all these systems. So fantastic. So Shrikanta, I hear you say points 1 and 2, and I believe you did miss on to the earlier webinar, which was gamification one-on-one for training professionals. So what we are going to do is we're going to come back to points 1 and 2 a little later, and we will start with what most of the people are saying, which is starting with point number 3, 4, 5, 6. and I haven't had anyone call out 7. So that's fine. We'll start with point number 3. But to set you up on what gamification is, and this is at the cost of really repeating myself for the benefit of Shrikanta, um, I would say, sorry, you did mention you are logging in from Srikanta's, handle. But that's fine. So what I could do, okay, Aditi, thank you so much. I'm also getting same message as Aditi. All right. Okay. So Aditi is saying from point number 3. All right. All right, guys. So let's get started. So give me a second. Just looking at who had logged in from Srikanta's. All right, so that's Chitra. You've logged in, I think, from Srikanta's handle. That's fine. Chitra, I'll be happy to walk you through the first two parts on gamification, which is what is gamification and why gamification in e-learning. Probably a little later. So we'll go with the group right now. And once we are finished with all of these, then I would come back to you and cover points number 1 and 2. And I hope that's going to be fine. So let's get started, guys. Point number 3 is understanding different types of gamification. So let me just get to that. So here you go. So let's start by really understanding what is it that gamification does for us. It helps us create a game-like experience. We all are aware. What are the different types of gamification that we can put together for our learners? There are two types majorly. The first type is known as structural gamification, and the second type is known as content gamification. And in my view and research, really, there are, if you look through some of the material on Google, and a lot of other experts slash authors have written so much about and further categorized into gamification into activity based learning, game based learning, game like learning, and a lot of the other things. I would say that if you are a practitioner, don't get caught up with too much academic language. Basically go with what purpose is it that this specific gamification approach is solving for me. And there really are two types of gamification that one could do with training content, and we're going to talk about that now. So the first statement, and it's a profound one that we should consider, is that do I want to gamify my content or turn my content into a game? There is a difference in the two approaches. So when I say do I want to gamify your content, what does that mean? It means that at times we work with training material which, so to say, from a conceptual standpoint, there isn't so much there. For example, a new hire training, okay, or compliance related training. So from a conceptual and building on understanding perspective, there is not much that you could do. Basically, you want people to go through the content, and this is the typical need that I get asked out on. So my most of the training leaders that I meet, they would say that, hey, Aman, I have a lot of content that people do not take any interest in. And typically in most organizations, this type of content is the most mandatory style content. Compliance trainings, your new hire training, your policies of HR and things like that. So how do you get people to take interest in this, and how do you get people to retain and recall this information in a better way? So structural gamification really is an answer to building engagement for, so to say, boring content, where the content by itself does not have that pull factor for the learners to really engage them. Of course, you can make content more interesting, and that we could go into the aspects of content gamification even for subjects like that. But a easier way around is to use structural gamification. So what is structural gamification? Structural gamification is very simply creating a game like structure through which your content will get delivered. So what is a game like structure? Game like structure will have the look and feel of a game. and it will have all those ingredients which we have covered earlier, which are the 7 key elements of gamification. So it will have all or most of those 7 elements in place. And basically what it will do is it will create a game like experience. So remember guys, it is not a gaming experience, it's a game like experience. So what we are still saying is that it is going to play like a game, however it's still not a game. Why? Because if we look at the definition of what game really is, then what you're doing in a game has to be the core of the content, and which plays out well in the content gamification piece of or approach of gamification, not in this one. So think of it like a wrapper. So a wrapper that you would put around your existing content, and this wrapper is basically a game like structure. And what you're creating is an experience in which people will go through that game like experience, and as they go through that game like experience, they get delivered with the content pieces that you already have in place. Important thing to know here is that you can really apply structural gamification to any type of training content under the sun, really any type of training content under the sun, and it works well because you are the degrees of freedom that it provides for the training professional to create alignment with the company, to create alignment with mission, vision, and all those things with the company. All that has some massive value. Why training leaders today are really depending on structural gamification for most of their e-learning production. So let me just read out what I have here. This is straight from the book, which you will download if from this link. In the context of organization training, this form of gamification gives a game-like structure to the content. The content itself does not become a game, but the way it's presented is game-like. So guys, this is the piece that you have to remember and know, that this is the scope of what structural gamification does. The native content structure does not change. So what is the native content? So native content would be, let's say you have a video which is done by an SME on a concept that goes well in your organization. Now that video content is ready. It's you've made this a part of an earlier e-learning, you play that out in the classroom. So if you want to include that piece of content into structural gamification, you would not need to do too much overhauling with the content. Actually, you can just leave the content the way it is and still create a game like experience. So Amit, I hear you say, how can we apply gamification in application software development and in implementation? Fantastic idea, Amit. There are a lot of ways. In fact, most of simulations that we do create in our studio are done for software applications, and I will be happy to show you how that simulation looks like. And it is kind of like a gamification approach to teaching people how to use software more effectively / efficiently. All right. So this structural gamification is mostly a template based approach. So what do you mean by template? See, template is something that is reusable. So it's a reusable asset, is called a template in our design, production language. And what can happen is that once you create a template, that specific template of gamification can be used many times over for different types of training with just a little tweak here and there. Fantastic way to scale your learning productions inside organizations. So I'm a big fan of structural gamification, and I'm going to show you how that looks and feels like in a bit. Another thing to note is that it can plug in, you can plug and play your native content. So often as training designers in organizations, we would ask that, okay, we have to put together or we have to overhaul or revamp our new hire orientation training or a compliance training. How long is it going to take? We don't have so much time. We have to produce certification before certain time. And can we, what is the way that I can overhaul / revamp my new hire or any such training that you already are doing in the shortest possible time, giving it a whole new look and feel? Structural gamification is the answer. Sorry about that. Structural gamification is also easy on the pocket and time, and it's most cost effective way of going gamified with your learnings. So, in short, that's structural gamification. We create a wrapper. So I'm just summing it up. What we do in structural gamification is we create a wrapper. That wrapper, so to say, is an pre-built experience, which is game-like. And then you can plug and play different content pieces at different stages of that template. So that's how structural gamification works in very simple words. Here are some examples that I will share with you. So we have a template which is the mountaineering template, and I will show that just a bit. So what we do here is we create a template. What is a template? The template is that of a mountaineering expedition, and we allow learners to choose an avatar of whether they want to be a male or a female mountaineer, depending upon which gender they belong to. And once they do that, then we give them an experience that hey, you are at, let's say, the base camp, and you have to climb to, yes, a summit one. And what do you have to do? You have to go through various pit stops. As you can look at the image on the left hand side, there are various pit stops that one would need to go through to be able to get to the summit. And what are these pit stops? These pit stops can be content, it could be a short simulation, it could be a video, it could be an assessment, it could be, any of those native content pieces that you already have built or can get them built very quickly. So, what we are really doing is creating a game-like experience of mountain expedition where the learners can come in and feel that, they have to now climb mountain as a part of this training. And in their mountain climbing journey, various content pieces are delivered at various points, and they have to successfully demonstrate competence in each of those content pieces to move forward. So, you're building in all the elements of gamification beautifully in this. This something like this, guys, we've installed, I think, at about, we've had over 150 installations of this template. This template never fails us. It is the safest theme and a template that I have come across, where you could really take your organization training within a month, gamify everything, give people a brand new game like experience, and build better recall, and engage your learners even better as a result of just using this approach to gamification of your training program. So this is one idea where you could really gamify the whole training. So, a new hire training typically in e-learning format could run anywhere from a hour and a half, 2 to 3 hours. So in those 2 to 3 hours, the overarching experience that people will remember is the whole uh, piece on mountaineering and how they climbed from first mountain to another. And along the way, they faced various obstacles, like their oxygen went low, so they had to answer some questions to get more oxygen. Sometimes there was a blizzard that happened, and everything was stopped, and they had to answer questions to get out of the blizzard. So, it's a fantastic movie like experience that you can create with your own training. And you could have all types of content pieces, right from like I said, videos, to pure narrative style e-learning slides, to quizzes, assessments, to micro simulations. Think of it, just plug and play. Fantastic template. And also, a template based approach works very well. Why? Because let's say this quarter you want to do new hire orientation. uh, uh, um, Okay, so I just started reading the question, lost my thought. So, in let's say this quarter you want to do new hire orientation, and there you go. Within a month's time, you can have everything ready. Next month you feel that, okay, now can we revamp our compliance training? So what you could do is that the template is already there. Just tweak the template a little bit, and make it another level, and then plug and play the new content within that template, and there you go. So, guys, from an operations standpoint, structural gamification really is the best buddy a training leader has today. That's the fact of things. Because you want to constantly churn out newer and greater looking material to your to your employees, and with everyone you want to get them engaged, get them all excited, build a higher recall, build higher retention. All of that gets fulfilled with a template based approach. And it's not only mountaineering style template which is the only template available. You can go crazy with what type of theme based template you want to create. So I'll give you some examples as we go along, and I'll just be sharing some examples where we've created templates based out of an F1 style race, a car race. We've created templates based on that. We've created templates based on the Mario Brothers platformer game. You remember when we were kids, or I think a lot of people here today are from the next generation than the generation I belong to. So when we were kids, we used to play Nintendo Mario Brothers. For millennials in the house who do not know what Mario Brothers looked like, just Google it, guys. It was the game that that made the world crazy in our times when we were kids, and the game was just awesome. It was just 100% detective, all of those great things. So we built a template based on that. We built a template customized to organizations needs, missions, and visions, and I'm going to be sharing with you an example of that. The other way you could use templates is to just create a templates which are very game based. So for example, there are a lot of floating ones on the internet that one comes across, like there is a golf game, or there is a football game, or a cricket game, and you can simulate what happens inside in the cricket game or the golf or the football game, and use that as a template to deliver your quizzes. How does that work out? So let's take an example of a football game. So what will happen is you will have a person on the penalty shootout ready with the ball ready, and ready with his stance to go and kick the ball, and there is the goalie at the other end whose job is to stop the ball from going into the goal. And a question pops up and says, what do you think is the answer to this question? And you have four options. If you click on the right option, then what happens is it triggers the play of the player coming, hitting the ball, and the ball going into the goal. If you hit on answer or an option which is incorrect, then of course the player hits the ball and the goalie is able to catch the ball, saving it from going into the goal. So smaller I would say basic gamification templates are all out there. We've built so many of them, it's not even funny. But these things really work for audiences who are uninitiated in gamification. See, a lot of it depends on what is the maturity level with e-learning in your organization. If you are in an organization where people have not really encountered good e-learning, then I would say great templates to go for. If your organization is one where people have seen the world and they have exposure to a lot of great e-learning that you and your company have built, or stuff that they have seen outside, then I would say all this will be slightly basic, however still will get the job done. So what will excite? The question is, how will we excite our people who have massive exposure in terms of what the greatest e-learnings really look like? I would say that structural gamification may not cut it there, so you might have to go in for content gamification. And I'm happy to look at your use case if you want to discuss with me, or I will share some of my own examples how we've used content gamification. So guys, this is the approach of structural gamification to training content. I'm going to right now play some of the examples so that you can see it in action. Feel free to put in some questions. There are some questions already, so let me go through them. So Gurpreet, you're saying, Aman, in the start of the session, can we also use jungle theme instead of trekking? Gurpreet, we could really go all out in terms of the theme. So if you want to create a jungle theme, we can create a jungle theme, definitely. If you want to create a deep diving theme, so something that deep divers, once they go as much deep down in an ocean, what is it that they go through, you want to create a theme like that, we can create that theme. So let me also answer another question, that how long does it take for a studio like us to create a theme, I would say that it's a complete design process. So the work starts at the level of understanding what are some themes that we can pick up, then preparing some basic artwork on what the theme could look like, and then once all of that is figured out with the stakeholders, then we start the development or the actual design process of the artwork creation, of creating various elements and various variables that are going to play out in the theme. So I would say that with structural gamification, you're just not limited to what is the theme you want your people to associate with. You can go all out with anything theme that comes to your mind. And frankly, to share with you, in my consulting experience, when I work with training leaders typically are fascinated with one or the other specific theme, and they would say that, Aman, can we create a theme on bullock cart race, or can we create a theme on archery, or can we create a theme on the moonlander mission of NASA? Can we do a Chandrayaan style theme for this training program? And it's so easy to use any theme under the sun. All you need is just a little understanding of the concept, and then you can put together a theme yourself. And I would say this, guys, that if you are a learning practitioner, you do not have to really look for a consultant to do this for you. You can do it yourself, and I'm going to also share with you what are some steps around it that you could follow. So all you need to do is go to Google, get some artwork which is free to use, and then create the theme of your choice. Really, it's that simple. All you need to do is ensure that beyond that artwork, there are variables and gamification elements that are in place that is going to add to the experience of people. And let me also tell you guys that none of this is getting built outside of rapid authoring tool. So if you are hands on with Articulate Storyline 3, this is where we build most of our themes. So really, you don't need a special software like Unity or any other programming software to be able to do all this. You can do this very, very simply in Articulate Storyline suite of products, or even Captivate for that matter, or I would say even Lectora. So all these rapid authoring tools, they provide enough tool set for you to go out and really create a basic gamification theme to your heart's desire. Okay, so Gurpreet, another question from you was, or some other participants would like something else considering learner persona? Yes. So very, very important, pertinent question and comment, Gurpreet. What we're saying is that, how do I select? And this is a question, which is a food for thought for everyone. How do I select the theme? Okay. So let's say I'm an organization. I want to build a gamification of training for my people. And how do I now select a theme? Okay, so one is, of course, the first idea is the whims and fancy of the stakeholders, which, of course, is the most important piece that gets played out. Second is that, every organization, and specifically organizations who are, spending a lot of time in their own branding, building their culture and things like that, they have some internal metaphors. And the metaphors could really be climbing a mountain, or going on a journey, or we as a company are on a mission, so things like that. So all you need to do is understand what those ideas are, what those metaphors or themes are in the organization that leaders are referring to, that leaders are taking examples of, leaders are building metaphors around, and pick one of those. And see, ultimately, anything that you put around here, if you're going to an outside consultant, or you're looking to ramp up your own resources to build this internally, you will need to get funds, right? And who will give you the funds? The management is going to give you the funds. So it is a good idea to go with the management with something that is going to fly with them well. So pick up a concept that maybe the CEO talked about in the last their address, or the top leadership is building metaphors around, or they're doing organization culture branding and stuff like that. So pick up ideas from there, go to the management, and there you go. Your first impression is paving the way for you to get the funding and whatever else for you to go ahead with that project. And another piece important here is to consider the learner persona. So, I'll give you an example. If I build a Mario style platformer theme, who am I building for? I am building it for people who probably are in my generation, are probably 10 years plus here and there. Why? Because people from that era would be able to relate to that theme much more. Okay. So if I have to build a theme for the millennials of today, or the next generation after millennials, which are, currently about 19, 20 years old, hitting, organization workforce, if I have to build a theme around that, my platformer game theme is not going to work so well. So what am I going to work around? I will have to work around something else, be able to understand what are the things that they like, what are the things that they use in their own lingo, what are the things that they're impressed with, what are some references that they make to each other. So I have to really understand the learner persona to be able to create a theme which is going to fly with them. And I will share with you in one of these ideas right away, which is that, what I've seen work with the super millennials, which is the new generation of people hitting the workforce. So if you guys remember, just some time back, there was a movie on Netflix, and that Netflix movie was around choosing your own ending. So that specific movie aired on Netflix, and you could literally, and that movie would stop after a certain point and say, "What do you think the character must do here?" And then there were various options given to you on the screen, and you could literally take your remote and choose the option that you want that specific character to take in that movie. So this movie was built in a interactive format, and there were 16 different endings to that movie, if I remember correctly. So the millennials, the super millennials, or the the people who are just joining the workforce, they are from that, they love stuff like that. They love the idea of being able to dictate the story and take it where they want. So if I'm building a theme basis this, and another example I'll give is that of these super games like Grand Theft Auto. So we know it's a very it's a fantastic, highly addictive game. Most of the people who've grown in the who passed through school in the last 10 years have played that game, and it's a fantastic game. It's a whole new concept of open-ended gameplay. So if I want to build a theme for people who are very very young, I would look at those ideas and build a theme. And of course, it's driven by learner persona. So Gurpreet, thank you for that comment, and I'm glad we are able to discuss that piece. So guys, I am now going to share with you some of the work that we've done in this area, just to give you an idea how themes like these really look like, and what kind of experience they provide to the learners. So just allow me a second.
Are you to structure of the game that provides a clear sense through meaningful, even a rich experience of how I am doing? It is creating a game-like environment for your learning experience.
So Chitra, this is for you that I'm, letting this video play from the start, where I also talk about gamification a bit, just for you to get a sense of what we are talking about and what are these gamification elements are.
Hi, my name is Aman Deep Dubey, and I want to share with you how gamification is really that magic wand that every training leader wished they had found earlier. Now, what is gamification? It is creating a game-like environment for your learning experience, which is just three things. First, create a thought-through structure of the game that provides a clear sense of what the game is, how it is structured, and what are the rules, and how does one go about winning. Second, inclusion of game dynamics, a clear layout of the milestones the learning experience is divided into, which can drive a sense of progress for the learners. A thought-through, meaningful scoring system that can add to the sense of achievement while in the game. And some excitement by the means of an obstacle or a challenge that can take the player to the next level. And third, a sense of competition, which can be initiated through a leaderboard that can deliver a rich experience of how I am doing vis-a-vis my peers. See, the game is all about competition, and that's where the energy in the game comes from. So how can we create a game-like environment for my trainings? So here is how it works. When you design your learning experience, you incorporate all these elements within the structure of the experience. Let me give you an example from some of our work. Our clients are constantly demanding from us to build such an enriching experience for their learners, especially for trainings which are high stake, like the new hire trainings. Over the years, we have perfected many gamification templates with multiple client installations. In one of our copyrighted template, which we have built on the mountain expedition theme, the learner becomes an expeditioner in the mountain climbing challenge. Let me quickly run you through the experience in brief. The learner launches the module, understands that he is going to experience a game for this learning experience. He gets introduced to the structure of the game and various milestones he needs to achieve to progress forward. The learner then enters his name and chooses an avatar. He then takes his time to understand the rules of the game and his mission, and then enters the expedition, which is the game arena at level 0, which is the base camp where he gets the welcome message from the leader and starts the expedition from level 1. Each milestone within this level offers content and assessment to the learners. As he completes one milestone, he unlocks the way to the second milestone. The way he performs at and it's no more your responsibility to and starts the expedition from level 1. Each milestone within this level offers content and assessment to the learners. As he completes one milestone, he unlocks the way to the second milestone. The way he performs at these milestones determines the score that he accumulates. As he completes various milestones this level has, he faces an obstacle that tests his knowledge and skill gained at that level. And the way he performs at each obstacle earns him a badge of recognition. Learners anytime can take stock of their progress from the status bar, where he will see his current score, badges and progress and keep track of his performance till that moment. Successful completion unlocks the next level of the game. Now we have built this template to plug and play with existing content. As a part of the template, we help you create your welcome videos, company overview, interactive company timelines, interactive org chart,
All right, sorry, I was muted there, didn't realize. Okay, so guys, you look through how a mountaineering style expedition kind of,
each
in our
mountain peak and
specific
its
template looks like.
multiple
I'm
elements,
gonna
competency
just
trainings and
walk you
all
through.
types of assessments. The structure of this template fits perfectly with the existing structure of your training content, with each mountain peak and its milestones are really chapters and sub-chapters of your training module.
So, guys, remember I was saying earlier that using this approach to gamification is so much more easier because let's say you already got a training built out. Now, typically the way we've traditionally built training is that, there is a title, then there are chapters, and within the chapters, there are sub chapters. So, you could literally use the same structure and just plug and play with the template that you've created, so it doesn't require for you to rework on the training in any way.
And obstacles is really the assessment of each chapter. Let me share a very interesting twist we designed inside the game mechanics. One of our clients during the new hire training wanted to establish their HR mascot as a familiar and a trustworthy face for all new hires to associate with, where they feel that they can reach out to HR for any help. As the learner completes the obstacle and is not able to get all the answers correctly, he meets with the HR mascot, who then shares the right answers with him and helps him get to the next level.
Guys, I just want to point out that if you're building a theme, there is so much you can do in terms of what that, what is the current need of that specific department. Now, the one of the clients that we built this for, they said that, we are a very big organization, and actually they were about 20 or 1,000 people across India, and they wanted to, and they had grown inorganically. It was a funded company, massive amount of funds. They were growing like crazy all over the country, and inducting some 100 odd people in every location every 2 weeks, and things like that were happening. And the HR in that specific company felt that, because the company has grown inorganically, so the bond between HR and the people who are getting inducted is not that great. So how do we build in those bonds and give people a sense that if you look at this mascot, or if you come across anybody from HR, then you look at them with a little bit of trust, and these are the guys who are going to help you. So how do I build that connect right up front in the new hire time? So this is the idea we gave them, that during assessments, people are going to not be able to all get all correct, and if they do, then why don't we introduce the HR mascot, who's going to come in and who's going to give them, so to say, a cheat sheet, that okay, you're getting stuck here, I'll tell you the right answers, and I'll help you find your way outside of this. So the clients were happy, the stakeholders were happy, and we were able to visually build a connect, and the HR mascot, or the branding of HR, was done effectively through this method. So what I'm trying to say is that with going the way of structural gamification, you can really take inputs from all the stakeholders who want to achieve something with this training program and build it in the storyline of the product that you're creating. So this was one idea, where we've used mountaineering expedition. I'm going to show you some more ideas, guys. Feel free to let me know if there are any questions around this template, and then I'll move on to other ones. So Gautam, you're saying that how important is it to focus on the storyboarding before starting with tools? What to keep in mind? Gautam, storyboarding for us, for any e-learning production, really is the blueprint. What blueprint is for the architect. So it's absolutely sacrosanct. That's the word I would want to use. A lot of work happens at the storyboard level before we even do anything on any tool. So to answer your question, how important, I would say critically important. What is it that you need to keep in mind? So I'll tell you what to keep in mind. What you need to keep in mind is that your storyboard document is the Bible that is going to remain throughout the production. So if there are any confusions, any debates, any conflicts that arise during the production level, where do you go back to? You go back to the storyboard. Storyboard is absolutely sacrosanct, and it is also a very good tool to not find surprises in the end after you've done the production, that this is not flying and customers are not liking it and my people think it's too basic, and all those things that come your way after you have delivered. You stop, you create an opportunity for that to not happen by ensuring that your storyboarding process is completely ironed out and you have followed what it takes to build a perfect storyboard for that specific product. So if you ask me, storyboarding is critically important. Before anything, you have to get your storyboard right. You have to show the storyboard to all the people, build some small little prototypes to give people a sense of how it's going to look and feel like, and then everything that gets approved on storyboard is pretty much it's frozen. Of course, if you work with clients, if you're in a position like mine where I work with outside clients, and clients do come up with last minute requests, we have to take care of that as well. But if you're an internal person and you have the ability to push back, or even if you are in a place where you do have to appease certain senior stakeholders who are asking for last minute things, those are things that are outside of what storyboard will be able to help you with. But that said, storyboarding is absolutely critical. Storyboarding has to be frozen before you go into the production or any kind of design work beyond the first few frames for your program. So I hope that answers that. Now I'm going to share with you another very interesting theme that we have built using structural gamification ideas. All right. So guys, this is this is a theme which actually showcases our ability as a studio to understand customer requirements and put together something that's exactly tailored to what they need. So we were working with a big healthcare company, and they wanted to create a gamification of their, regular trainings, and they wanted to just create so much of buzz around it that they wanted everyone to talk about it in the hallway, and all the good things that we want happening from all products that we deliver. They wanted all of it, and they wanted the theme to be reflective of some key ideas that that company believed in. For example, helping people in their healthcare situations, and being an aware person when it comes to healthcare insurance, medical insurance, and things like that. So what did we do? We created a template where somebody would take the avatar of a health mayor for a city, and then created all the story work around it to give them a sense that you as you do this training, you are basically acting out your responsibilities as a city healthcare. So let's look at that template.
Welcome to Global City Healthcare Quest.
Welcome to the Global City Healthcare Quest.
Please enter your name to begin.
Please enter your name to begin.
You are the new health marshal of this global city.
You are the new
Our
health
mission
marshal
is
of
to
this
solve all
global city.
health-related issues in the
Your
city.
mission is to solve all the health-related issues in the city.
Your colleague from headquarters will update you for all health-related situations. City Mayor may also consult you for your opinion. The town residents are the beneficiaries and observers of your performance. They will grade you on your ability to solve the challenges quickly and efficiently with a Net Promoter Score. Net Promoter Score is a measure of the percentage of promoters minus the detractors. NPS of 9 or 10 is considered good. Your job is to pay attention, learn quickly, and apply your best skills to achieve the highest Net Promoter Score. Let me walk you through your game mechanics. Your colleague or mayor will bring to your notice a pressing situation. You will have to decide your best strategy to take care of the situation. This will earn you strategy points. You will then enter your quest dashboard. Here, you will see different campaigns that will bring your strategy to fruition. Each campaign will require investment depicted by number of coins. When you hover over the different campaigns, you will see if you have the resources available to make this investment here. You can click on the campaign to make the investment. The investment coins will be deducted from your available resources. Here, you will see your current resources available to you. For your first quest, you will get a credit of 30 coins. If the campaign requires more investment than your available resources, you will see this prompt here. You can now take a challenge to earn more coins. You can see the nature of the challenge by hovering over it, and maximum coins you can earn in it. Some challenges will be games in themselves. Make sure you understand the scoring rules. Depending on your performance in the challenge, you can bring coins back as an addition to your available resources. Once you have more coins, you can invest in other campaigns of your strategy to serve the members of the global city. You can see your progress, your strategy points, and your resources and Net Promoter Score in real time from this status bar. All the best. Your game starts now.
Okay, sorry about that. So, guys, what I just showed you was an example of how we built a very intricate style game, intricate style strategy game based template for this specific training that we were that the client wanted us to put in a gamification concept. And as you looked through, nothing that you saw was actually picked up from anywhere or inspired from anywhere. Everything had to be built from scratch, understanding the requirements and creating understanding what is it that the training team wanted to what their vision was, and they had a vision for a very very complex strategy game. Also, one of the reasons was that the employee base for that company was a mature employee base, so very highly paid people, not very young. I mean, in their mid management level, they were the people who were the audiences for this game. So we had to create the game in a way so that it doesn't look like very childish. Yet they were elements of strategy that one would need to take a step back and think about before they invest their resources to make the game play. So. What you just saw was a template for a strategy game. So let me know how you liked it, did like it, or any comments at all. So Kunal, I hear you say that the this seemed almost like content gamification. Well, from the look and feel, Kunal, it does look intricate, but it is not content gamification. It is structural gamification. But in this specific project, we had to use a combination of creating a structural gamification wrapper, and then within that, as each content piece was delivered, we had to work on content gamification piece for each of those elements that would get delivered. So it was a mix of both of these, but I would still call it structural gamification, because it was not the content that was gamified. It was a theme that was put together, and the content was delivered as a result of people making certain changes, people taking certain actions within that story to move forward. So that's the difference. So let me know, guys, how you felt about it. Liked it, did like it, things like that. All right. So with that, I'm going to move on and show you some more of the stuff that you could do to build structural gamification into your own programs. So guys, here is another theme. Thank you, Shikanta, for that comment. Here is another theme that we've built. So you remember the mountaineering theme and what it does, all of those things. So there was a requirement from a client of on uncertainty, that they wanted to build uncertainty in their employees. By the meaning of uncertainty, the idea was that if you're if you want your sales force to or if your sales force or your employee base is often in the face of uncertain situations, and they have to figure out resource, or they have to act resourceful in those situations, then we had taken those concepts and we built what we called an island challenge theme for gamification. Gautam, there is a question from you. Have you built something on the lines of murder mystery? I would have loved to, Gautam. The problem is that most of the corporate clients that we have, words like murder, pirate, they don't fly very well. Yeah. So in corporates, the lingo, we have to sound positive, and everything that we do is doesn't have to talk about bad things at all. So we've floated that idea a few times, but got pushed back because the word murder, or solving for a murder that happened, it doesn't go very well with the corporate. And you are a corporate guy yourself, you would know that. So coming back to this specific theme, what we did in this specific theme was we said, okay, what we are going to do is we are going to create a challenge for a person and start with the story, which is that hey, you are a person, you were on a boat, and somehow something happened. There was some turmoil or something in the sea that happened, and now you are stranded on this specific island. Now on this island, Okay, so on this specific island, you have nothing, no way to get back to the city. So what do you do? You have to find a way to get to some other neighboring islands in which you will find different resources. For example, a pedal, a boat, like a life jacket and things like that. And as you go to these different islands, you will receive content and you will have to show your competence, and that's the way your bridge gets complete to the first island, where you pick up the compass from you. Then you are done with that, you go to another island and you pick up the boat or the pedal and things like that. So basically the whole game story is such that you are putting together or collecting all the resources that you need to get back to the city. This is an island you're stranded on, so basically what you need to put together is a raft with a pedal and a compass so that you can get back to the city. So that was the story. I'll just show you how it gets played out. So this is without sound, so I'm going to fill in for that. So guys, what's happening here is that you have chosen your avatar, who you want to be, and the game starting right away. You're at the beginner level, and as soon as you get started, you get to read a little bit about the story that we are building. That this is your goal, this is your mission, and this is what you need to do in this game. So this is the game screen. You are on the right hand side, and basically all that you have yet to achieve or are all listed under the face, as you can see on the right hand side. And as you click, let me just rewind this a little bit. So basically what's happening here is that you're creating this bridge from point A to point B, and these bridges are nothing but content items which have been shown as bridges. You click on one item, you go to one assessment / content, and then if you're able to perform well on that, then you stay on that and you move to the next one, and the next one also offered some content pieces. So as you are playing the game, there is an overarching stress that learners are feeling, or stress or / excitement to get to that first island, get your pedal so that you at least have the pedal, and say then the second island will pop up where the boat will be, and then the third island where the compass will be. And there are some multitude of complexity built into this. For example, if you are able to without getting anything wrong, are able to go through two assessments, then you get a bonus, some kind of a bonus anchor, which helps you kind of it'll come to serve you in a situation when you do not have the right answer to a question you're being asked. So let me just show you how it works out. Yes, Gotham, it's a survival game, you could put it like that. So here we've just templatized it, removed all that content that we did for a client for the purpose of this presentation. And there is there is awesome complexity you can build into these stories and these games, to your heart's desire, really. So this is the first pit stop. And remember, guys, we talked about gamification and elements of gamification. We have to constantly introduce these pit stops so that we are able to create a sense of progress in learners. So what just happened in this game, how it got played out, was the first pit stop was you getting the pedal. So it happened. We congratulated the learner, took a deep breather, and then we are introducing him to the second challenges, which is now that you have to get to a boat. And of course, there is visual representation of the progress, as you can see down where the boat has pedaled from one point to the second point. So the game carries on like this. It's a pure survival game, and you have to you can like we earlier were discussing, you can input any types of content here, and you can create the theme of your choice, and which is aligned, and all those great things that we talked about. So this was one idea that I wanted to show you how you can use structural gamification. Let me also show you something else. All right, so this is right now, most requested type of gamification that our clients come to us with, which is that we want to create a fast-paced game, and it should look and simulate what F1 race is like, and things like that. We get requests for, and this is a theme that I will just show you that we built on the F1 concept. So if you can see here, we're constantly aligning ourselves, or sorry, calibrating ourselves to the gamification elements. What we want to do is put the learner into the driving seat, give him the sense that he's driving the game, and then have a navigation map on the left-hand side, which is constantly letting him know how he's doing in terms of his progress. And then, as you can see on the screen, there are various milestones that we have set up for him. So all he needs to do is click on one milestone. The other ones are deactivated, by the way, so it's pretty structured in that format as well. So we would like people to do first, the first, before they do go on to the second, and things like that. So we just put some content for the purpose of this presentation. So once it just plays out like this, that at every pit stop you can put some content piece out there, and go with that. And here on each of these thingies that you click, you can access a quiz, or actually quizzes here, so you can access different pieces of content. And so this is a great way. You've got powers on the left hand side, which is the 3 cars you've got. And if you get it right the first time, then you can. So if you do not get it right, then your car gets hit and you lose power in a way. So basically simulating, the play within a F1 style thing. So the game carries on like this. You can, like I said, you can use a lot of animation and elements from animated elements also within storyline to create as much of a animated experience as you want to create. So this was the F1 style game. I want to show you something else now. All right. So this is my generation platformer game based on the Mario Brothers ideas, and this happened because we were working with a very senior training leader who was who was fascinated with this game, and he said, "Can we do that?" I said, "Of course we can do that." And then they got everyone into the room, and a poll of sorts happened, where of course the idea of the training leader won, and we finally built this game. So I'll show you how it looks like. So you get the idea, guys. This is a platformer game. One has to go from one point of the screen to another point in the screen. Along the way, there are various coins or scores that one could attain, and there are certain challenges. And as you take a jump from one place to another, you are served with some questions and that you have to pass to move forward. So typically, the play workflow remains the same. However, the theme in which you are putting your learning in can differ, and that's what structural gamification is all about. So, guys, let me know if you're liking what you're seeing and if these are giving you ideas to, work on your own gamification interventions. Let me know in the chat area. All right, Monica, I saw a question from you. Very useful. Thank you so much, Monica, for this. Guys, feel free to keep communicating so that I'll know, all of us are tuned in and not have moved out for a smoke while all this is carrying on in the back. Fantastic. So, all right. All right. So, guys, I'm just going to wait for you to type in something so that I know all of us are together. All right. So, we've got Sudhanshu, extremely impressive. Not at all, sir. Just sharing a little bit of our work. I'm glad you liked it. Amit, great examples. Fantastic. So, it's giving me peace that you guys are seeing value in this. Irene, you're saying lots of ideas. Thank you. Very, very useful. Simply, illustrated for non-techies. Yeah. And guys, let me tell you, you do not have to be a techie at all to put any of this together all by yourself. You do not need massive coding skills. You don't actually need even basic coding skills to be able to get here. You could very simply, just work with a good authoring tool, and the ideas supersede everything else is the way I look at it. So if you have an idea, stakeholders are all gung-ho, your budgets are approved. For the artwork, just hire a guy to put together all the great looking artwork, and behind this, the mechanics and how the game is going to flow and what learners are going to experience is the bit for which you are responsible, I believe. And if you just put your mind together, just take a very big whiteboard and put down the experience and get some people onto to work with you to add more complexity, add more challenges, add more obstacles, and make this fun. So if you are able to get into that zone with your team or with people who are ready to help you, all you need is somebody to do the good looking artwork for you, and there you go. You don't need any other help from a coding standpoint from anywhere. All right, Kunal, so thank you so much. Very interesting and helpful presentation. Okay, Shrikanta, Mario, the best game, good work. Shrikanta, something tells me you're of my generation. Sorry about that, it's getting cold out here. All right, Shrikant. Sorry, Chitra. So great ideas too. Thank you so much. Okay, Beata, thank you for those examples. My pleasure, totally. So we'll move on, guys. So the first piece that we talked about was structural gamification. Now, what we are going to do is see. I'm not. Gautam, your question is, does Articulate come with some ready-to-use gameplay templates too? Actually, Articulate Storyline 3 or any of those Storyline products do not come with templates, but these templates are available for you to buy. There are a lot of vendors out there who sell some good looking templates. eLearning Brothers is one of them, and there are many more e-learning marketplace, learning place. So there is a ton of material out there. But here is a word of caution, guys. As you buy templates and put them into action, you must also get hands-on with what to do in case there is a request from somebody to make those changes in the templates, because seldom, or I would say rarely, actually read it as never, will it happen that you're able to buy a template and that template doesn't require any work from your end? It just doesn't happen. If you try to force fit it, you will see pushback, because at times people have their own requirements and they'll say, okay, Mr. Learning Designer, can we just do this here and not do this part? And the whole thing about templates is that they are stuck in the way that they have been built, but it does give you a very good starting point, and from there on, you could get somebody who's hands-on with Articulate and understands the whole ideas of variable states, layers, and all those great things, and have that person work on it. So my word of caution really is, you can buy templates. They're great for getting people excited and starting off things, but ultimately to customize templates is the capability that you will need to move forward on that project. Okay, so Sudhanshu, sorry, Chitra, you're asking artwork or graphic designing is done in which tool? It's primarily done mostly in Photoshop. In my studio, that's our tool of choice when it comes to creating anything which is of graphic value. So Photoshop is for us. I mean, all of us, typically all design studios or all designers would use Illustrator, Photoshop, CorelDRAW, a combination of these three softwares, and most of our work happens in Photoshop. Fantastic. So the next piece, or in fact, I did talk about a little earlier that we are not going to go into content gamification examples in this session. However, I could. Okay, so Kunal, you're saying heard of some tools like Construct. Are they useful vis-a-vis an Articulate Captivate? So very good question, Kunal. See, of course, we know about Construct. We've used it many a times to create platformer games. The thing with Construct is that you need to be a thorough coder to be able to build those. Although the Construct website says that you don't have to be a builder. I mean, you don't have to be a coder. Just drag and drop and your game is ready. But once you sit down to build that game, it's not that easy. You can go through that tutorials and stuff like that, and there is some journey with Construct that we undertook a few years earlier, where we had to finally abandon that tool because it wasn't giving us the degrees of freedom we wanted to put everything together. Vis-a-vis Articulate Captivate. See, Articulate Captivate are great tools because they're meant for e-learning. Construct is a tool that is meant for creating mobile games and other web-based games which are platformer-based. So with Articulate and Captivate, there is so much more that you will be able to do beyond the gameplay experience in terms of creating interactions, creating yes or no's, multiple choices, and things like that. So I would say that within e-learning, if you want to go crazy with your ideas, and then let me tell you this: there is absolutely nothing that you cannot do in Articulate or Captivate for which you will have to go out. I would say, just take this nothing with a pinch of salt. By nothing, I mean, 90%, 99% of the things you will be able to do within this. If you are really building a non super complex style game for learning purposes, and it doesn't really have to match the quality of Grand Theft Auto. So if you're building, a game that's going to work for you, Articulate Captivate is fantastic. But if you are going crazy and you want to build the next $1 billion game, then Articulate Captivate definitely will fall short, and then you have to move towards bigger platforms, probably like Construct or Unreal Engine or the Unity platform and things like that. So I would say for learning designers who are not that high, or we are not building our trainings for gamers. And here is another caveat, guys, and I've learned it through bad experience, which is that do not build too complex games if your audience is a non-gamer community. So we and I know this from experience, because the team that we work with on one of the gamification projects kept pushing us to make the game more complex, make it have so many more variables, and people have to do so much on the screen to get around. And ultimately, once it did get played out, people felt that they have not played. And this is the surprising part. A lot of in our experience, people got back at saying that you are assuming that all of us are gamers, whereas I have not played or completed even one game on my Android/iOS phone. So there are people like that also in the organization, and we have to, whatever we are building has to be on a fair ground for everyone to come together and experience it uniformly, and not just create something for pure gamer group for our people. So that's just a word of caution Kunal and everyone, and Gotham, that we have to keep in mind that we are not here to prove our capability as a game designer. We are not game designers. We are learning designers. So we want to create a little bit of that gameplay where it engages people. Everyone, for everyone, it's intuitive enough. Yet, and from a complexity standpoint, uh, if there are too many moving parts in the game and people have to do a lot to move forward in the game, people will not be able to do it, and you will get feedback like, the game got stuck, or I don't know how to play, or can you send somebody who can show us how it's played, or can I come to your station and play it with you, or at least show me once how it's played. So you don't want to deal with stuff like that. So I would say keep the gameplay light and know that we are not building the next version of Grand Theft Auto. We are just building a game to build a game like experience for our learners so that they are better engaged. And guys, remember this, that beyond the storyline and beyond the complexity, the real magic of gamification lies in the competition, lies on in leaderboards, lies in so many things that you would do with leaderboards and things like that. So don't get caught up or disheartened with that my game is not looking like the next $1 billion game. Just live with it, because it's not that important. And what's important is that you are able to achieve your purpose using game based learning. So that's my 2 cents, guys. Alrighty, so I want to move on to, I'll just take a question which just come up. Alrighty. Okay, so what we want to do is I will move on to guys. I will go into content gamification and show you most of my work also here. Um, uh, but for that, I would say that I want to spend more time on it and really explain to you what are some nitty gritties and complexities behind doing all of that work that we do in simulation, which is next level to structural gamification. I want to hold it for another session. So if there are guys who are looking to do some content gamification seriously and pick up serious games as a modality of their own training delivery, I would say attend the next webinar, which is going to be on simulations. We're going to cover that in detail. So initially we started off with saying, okay, what are some things that people want to do in today's program, and we said 3, 4, 5 is where we want to work with. So let me just go back to 3, 4, 5. So we did understanding of different types of gamification, which is structural and content. We looked at a lot of examples of structural gamification, and we are holding on to the examples of content gamification for now. And then we said 4, 5, 6 hands-on coaching on gamification application. And I will request really, if the people who are tuned in, if you would like to have an interactive conversation and share with the group what your experience with gamification has been, what has been some wins and losses, or even better, if you have an idea that I have an organization where everyone's talking about, let's say, digging and dig this and dig that, and I want to create a game around it. So mine is a company where we sell or manufacture earth moving equipment, and I want to create a gamification around it. How can I go about it? So I'm happy to have that discussion, guys, and give you some ideas, and throw it open to the group to really collect even more ideas, so that you go back even more enriched and more full of ideas with what you want to do with your training intervention. So guys, for this piece, feel free to raise your hand or just let me know in the chat area. I will just enable your mic, and then you could come online with me, and we could have an interactive discussion. All right, feel free to join, guys. There is no need to be shy. This is really Learning Design Summit is the place where we want to just be of help to each other, and whatever each one of us can contribute to each other's success, we want to do that. So I'm all game, and let me know in the chat area if somebody does share their unique use case. Will it not be? I mean, will it be a total waste of your time, or would you like that? So let me know in the chat area. In the meantime, I'm just looking through the chat scroll, and this is a question Amit had asked earlier, that how can we apply gamification to application software development and implementation? So, Amit, I would say this, now that we've covered some ideas on structural gamification. Of course, you can use a template to put together a complete software training. For example, let's and pick up any theme. So let's pick up the theme of mountaineering. So if, let's say, you have a new ERP slash a new inventory or forecasting software now in place for your organization to use, what we could do is, you create the first summit, and you call that summit, understanding the basic menus of the software. And in various pit stops, you explain every category of menu, and then you move forward. In the second mountain that you create, you can say, okay, after we are done with our first piece, which is understanding basic menus, now we are going to look at how we can do some common tasks in this specific software. And then taking the micro learning route, you could really create these over the shoulder style videos where you talk about how to do one specific task. So I'll just take an example for the sake of it. If, let's say, yours is an inventory management style software, so you could say, okay, right now, if I want to check how much of inventory is my depot slash my distributor slash my channel partner is currently holding, this is how you check it. So step number one, go here, do this, do that, and here you will be able to get a view of what you just wanted to see. So as we create these software based videos, I would say that keep them very, very task oriented, and not make it academic by going all out into, look at this menu and this menu does that, so look at this menu does that. So that type of software explanation, I think, just bores people want to be able to use the software to do stuff. So it's better to focus on the stuff and say, let's see how we want to do this task in this software, and create a video for that, and create a whole a portion of your gamification piece where it is dedicated to doing some 5 basic things that you can do in the software. So you just start with that. So that is how you can use a structural gamification idea to do software training. The other way, which is the most used way of doing software simulation, is that both Articulate and Captivate, they offer a show and show practice kind of a scenario. So what you can do within that is, first, you can create a video by showing that, okay, let's take an example of Excel, that, okay, if you want to do sum of all the rows or all the columns, then the way to do this is you drag and you click on the handle, you drag the handle down, and click on this summation sign, it will sum it up for you. So once you've explained and showed how it is done, then you could say, okay, now guys, this is the page in front of you. These are the things that you have to sum up. Now apply some summation function to see that you can, create a sum of all these numbers. And then, create these hotspots within Articulate slash Captivate, where, if they click on any other piece apart from the piece which they should have been clicking, then you give them a feedback which says, you're getting it wrong, take a hint, click here. So people get what is the closest to sitting next to a coach experience through that, and you can literally give people a hands-on experience of doing it themselves after you've shown them once. So that is a way that software training really is effective, and I'm happy to show to you if how that training actually looks like, if you're interested. In the meantime, guys, I'm looking at who would like to join us for. All right. So, Gautam, here is something from you. You saying that experience sharing. My first experience with gamification was a bomber. Survivor game was created to develop leadership skills. Air crash. 5 survivors escaped in an island. Fantastic. Employees found game too slow. Also, game would hang in a few places. So yeah, not a great success, but we'll try again. Fantastic. And Gautam, thank you so much for sharing this. And look at these pieces that we overlook when we romanticize game development. That the game was too slow, and this, trust me, is the biggest driver of success of any learning intervention. Guys, I'll share with you my personal experience. When we go into clients and develop stuff for them, then they want the world. By what I mean by the world is, they want high end graphics, high fidelity graphics, and very quick animations, and complete cinematic experience. Now all that is great, we want the world. But what happens is that people are playing this on mobile phones, where and traveling in buses, and waiting in outdoor areas, using their mobile data at times to play these games, and you're stuck with internet speed, very very low internet speeds. So if in your game you have so much for the browser to cache and load before the game plays out, what's going to happen? It's going to get stuck. So this is one caution that, after having done this for so many years, this is one caution that I always put up front, that we can create what you want, but at the end of the day it should play out for every employee. That's the level we should be able to achieve. So even if it calls for us to make the game lighter, let's do that. So that's a hard call we need to take, but I completely agree with you, Gautam. We have reworked on so many of the games for this issue, where they weren't loading cool enough, they weren't loading fast enough for everyone who's in remote location accessing it from phone and things like that. Okay, Aditi, you're saying, looking at these examples, motivated to build something similar in articulate storyline. Aditi, go all out on that. Thank you very much, Aman, for this session. My pleasure completely. Amit, you're saying, I'm really interested. Okay, I'm interested too, in showing you how that software simulation looks like. I'm going to quickly, show you something around that. Your suggestion is excellent. I will surely apply this idea. You're welcome. Okay, totally agree. Okay, so guys, I wanted people to come up and say, Gautam was very, kind to share his own experience. Guys, the thing with gamification is that the buzzword is a buzz. It's going to die out once the product's merit in terms of what it is able to achieve, becomes real. So I would say, don't get caught up with, I have to do gamification. Don't get caught up with that. It doesn't help anyone. You have to, as we've been talking about all throughout this Learning Design Summit, our job is to add value to business. And everything that we do is focused in that direction. And gamification is going to help you get there. Use it for that purpose oriented thing. But if you want to use gamification for the sake of using gamification, and you just want to do gamification, that's all if you're in a place like that, then I would say that take a little more time and clarify your thoughts on why and for whom and for what purpose are you really trying to do this. Because like I said, there is a magpie syndrome in the L&D community, where we just want to hang on to whatever people are talking about, and anything which is glittery and looks nice, we want that for our people. That is, I would say, a very very detrimental mindset. It doesn't help anyone. You want to build games, great. If you have a great purpose, even better. You want to build a game with a purpose to drive some behavior change in your employees that's going to impact the business, great. Now we are in business, now we are talking. So that's the journey that all of us as learning designers have to achieve mentally before we even touch gamification. Because I have seen so many bad implementations of gamifications where you're just doing a game for the sake of doing a game, and then what happens is that our reputation comes at stake. And if you are a team who's put together a game that people are finding no meaning in beyond the gameplay, then it is, people will start talking. And if that's not a good place to be in, where people say that, oh, he's going to just do something which will be hoo-ha and nothing beyond that. So we don't want to be in that position. Everything, all our designs, we are learning designers at the end of the day. We are not game designers. So we have to, one thing we have to consciously do is stop romanticizing the whole idea of game building. So if it is for a purpose, go ahead, keep your game simple, keep them light, and know that everyone in your organization should be able to play it in their browsers. So with that mindset, what is the business impact is going to create, all those things, think about those. Gameplay really, from a priority standpoint, doesn't stand a chance in the top three if you're really thinking like a learning designer. And of course, we can get caught up in how good my game looks vis-a-vis yours and things like those, and there is no end to that. And you can pretty much create. Today we have all the tools and techniques available with everyone right now, that if you look at a game that is out there on the Android store or on the iOS store that you want to replicate for your people, you can very much do it. You've got every tool out there in your hands right now to do it. But if that's what you want, you can go ahead. But like I said, think like a learning designer and don't get caught up. Alrighty, so Shrikanta, you're saying are these game experiences be developed standalone? I mean, without the internet to be on network of the organization? Yes, Shrikanta, this can happen. Sorry, Shrikanta or Chitra, whom I'm speaking to. This can happen. They can be developed as something that gets installed in your, in a person's hard drive and play from there. But I would say this, that why would you want to just go back 2 decades in that technology? Today everything's getting played out in browser, and if you have a challenge of we don't want to send our people to the cloud, then you can play all this out through your own internal network. All that can also happen. So Chitra and Shrikant, please try to see that you want to give your people something which is going forward in technology. I remember when I had started, there were a lot of inquiries and a lot of customers who said, just burn this thing that on a CD and give it to us. We've done that, but the problem with all of this is that the tracking is majorly compromised. So tracking, we love tracking in real time. You go into your LMS and see who all are the people who played the game today. You should be able to see it, right? I mean, that's what the systems are there for. But if you have a standalone system which gets installed, there is no way it is going to communicate with a cloud-based LMS or LRS or learning experience system or anything like that. So your tracking will be compromised, and you'll be doing the stupid way of okay, learners, take a screenshot of your last screen and send it to me over the email. Guys, let's stop doing this nonsense. It just kills me when I see people coming up with these ideas in today's day and time. It's just not I don't think it's the best use of our time and employees time to make them do things which is so retro, makes us feel that we are back in the dinosaur age or something. So sorry about that rant, Shrikant, but that said, feel free to um, uh, know that yes, they can be deployed like that. So to answer your question, yes, it can be done, but not the recommended way. Alrighty. So, anyone else would like to come in with their own experience of gamification? If you I believe, guys, there are so many of us in the room, and my goal was when I was putting this together, it was that there will be designers who are looking to take their game to the next level or looking to build a gamification, based intervention. So if that is the case, please come and share with me your ideas. We'll take it to the group. We'll make it interactive, and we will give you ideas that you'll be able to use. Yes, Gautam, you written. Would you have time for something about elements and leaderboards today? Yes, of course, I could talk about that, Gautam. Here is the thing with the LMSs today. Um, and please treat this as a rant because I'm speaking from my experience and what I see in the market. The LMSs today are built by non-trainers. Okay, that's the fact of things. People who were doing web development, application development, now have a LMS product and they are peddling it through their sales guys to various organizations. I think the fault lies at the level of organization who are buying such products without knowing who has built them. See, you can always test out a product. That takes time. Nobody has that time. So basically, you have to go with, you know, the first thing that you can trust in a person, is this person qualified to build a product like this? And the answer is that most of the LMSs out there are a total waste of time. And not only are they built by somebody who is not a learning professional, but people have done a bad job of building LMSs out there. I would say today in the market, there are, if not less, in India, I know of at least 500 companies who are selling LMSs, and very few, I would say not close to one of them, is actually built by a learning designer. So what do? You get a ERP looking system which you have to really figure out your way how to manage from inside. And because these programs are not built by learning designers, so it doesn't have anything that can future proof you with anything that is coming new in the learning domain. So they are what they are, and they are at a certain price. You will get them really cheap for pennies. All that can happen for organizations. And I know of a lot of people who have invested into LMS just because they were the cheapest in the market, and later realized that their LMS, nobody is visiting their LMS. So you can put flowers and other things where the LMS is. So it's died its death. So guys, don't make I would say qualify an LMS first by who's building it, because then you will know that is this guy going to take me forward, or is his product going to give me something that I'll be stuck with? And most of the LMSs are in that domain right now. uh, okay, so leaderboards typically are a function of the LMS. So all these games and everything else that we create are in Articulate Storyline or in Captivates or whatever. And all these products are built with the mindset that they will communicate with the LMS. So all the scores and everything else that the learner is generating real time in their real sessions, all this is getting communicated to the LMS, and then it is a job of the LMS to give you the reportings the way that you want to get. I have also heard that there are few LMSs in the market who do not have leaderboards, and there are LMSs which are not gamified. So I would say that if you're using something like that, then take this up with your management and say that please get us better systems, because we don't want to do training how it was done 50 years ago. We want to be with where the times are taking us, and be on the forefront of what our learners are able to get. So these LMSs are no good. We are moving away from LMSs. That's what I see now. We are going into more experience platforms and more evolution platforms than just LMSs. Okay, so Gautam, you're saying my organization has a white elephant cornerstone. Yeah, Cornerstone is wrapping up business in India. They're not able to sell and sustain anymore. Their products haven't gone through development. Guys, I am not a hater of Cornerstone. I think they are a great company, but it's becoming difficult for them to cope up. And as somebody who uses a product which is not getting developed continuously, I would say just jump off that board, because that boat is going to sink. So no worries, Gautam. But that said, and apart from all the rant that I'm doing, Gautam, that said, the LMS, the one that you have, it's still great for the purposes of how that you can put up content, you can get tracking. So at least use that to the maximum leverage as much as you can. And then of course, build up a case. See, if you are in a position where you can influence these decisions, build a case, because unless learning designers and training leaders, they build a case to change the system in the organization, nothing's going to happen, because management is thinking that, oh, they need learning, the LMS is already there. They don't know what is the quality of the LMS. You are aware of what the quality of LMS is. So you can create a business case, go to your management and say that, hey, we want a better system to better train our guys, and here is the business case, and this is the money we will save, this is the impact we will create, and all that. If you total it, it's the payout time or break even time for this investment will be less than 1 year or 1.5 years. So like I've been constantly saying that, guys, go ahead, create a solid business case, sell your point, and get what you want. Okay, Gautam, your question is, so as per you, which is the best LMS to go for? um, Difficult question, and I'll be slightly biased here. See, I have built an LMS myself, and it's taken me over 5 years of constant building it with my technology team. So I will be slightly biased in answering that. But yeah, to sum it up or to just play with my biases, I would say that mine is. But that said, I would say that don't take anyone's word. Go out and test on your own. See the kind of features that any LMS that you get now, is it gamified? So simple 5-point checklist: is the LMS gamified? Yes or no? Does the LMS have a mobile app, a native mobile app, and not just responsive screens? Does it have that? Second question. Third question: does the LMS have a roadmap of what all it's going to bring into its product in the coming 1 year, 2 years? Does it have that roadmap? Because if these are hard questions, and trust me, if you ask this question to any LMS, you will find nothing from it. The fourth question to ask is, does my LMS have personalization already? Okay. And does my LMS have social learning built in? So these 5 things are the way that we are going into the future. If your LMS is supporting it, you will be able to get there quicker. If your LMS is not supporting it, then it's time for a business case, as I would put it. And I'm happy to really also showcase the LMS that I have built, and I have massive number of people on it already. I don't want this webinar to be a pitching session, guys, at all. But I'm happy to take any questions, or if any of you would like to see what all is there and things like that, I'll be happy to take that conversation up. So, guys, with that, I would say we are way off time now. It's 1:30, close to India time, and thank you so much, guys. You're still in the room. Makes me really humbles me with with all the good feedback that you guys are giving me, and I'm sure there is, I'm able to at least give 1 ounce of value to your to your work, and there would be something that you'll be able to take back from this session. So guys, feel free to keep letting me know what all you would like me to cover, and I have expertise in very limited areas. I'm just touching on those, and I'm the I'm a learner myself. So if you let me know that Aman, we would like something on this and that, I will keep that in mind and make sure that we are able to deliver that to you. The whole idea of the Learning Design Summit really is, guys, to mobilize the learning design community, move away from those the only good places where you get quality education are the conferences that you pay for, and these payments, these kind of the entry fees for most of these conferences is so exorbitant, it doesn't make sense for an average Joe like you and me to go and attend conference and spend that amount of money if your company is not sponsoring it from your own pocket. So it doesn't make sense. That is the reason I had put together this whole conference and got all the speakers and said, in my belief, in my world, I believe knowledge needs to be free, and it needs to be freely distributed. So it's an effort at that direction. Please feel free to let me know how you like the conference, or what more topics you would like to see, and then I'll try to, like I said, put all that around for you. That said, guys, I did promise Shrikanta a little earlier to talk about gamification. Shrikanta and Chitra, let me know if what I have covered earlier in that video, which talked about gamification elements, if that is good to go for you. If you haven't downloaded the book, guys, go ahead, download the book. The link is right here. Or if you would like me to spend 5 minutes on that, I would be happy to do that as well. Okay, Gurpreet, you're saying you're really humble, Aman, in sharing the information. Hardly find people like you. Everybody is busy hiding. Okay, Gurpreet, it's time for self-validation. Yes, I'm a great guy and a humble guy, but that doesn't solve anything. The idea is to help each other get successful, and that's what we are here for. But thank you so much for that comment. And yes, one of the biggest problems really in our community is that people don't like sharing, and that's the piece I don't understand, because as we know, everybody is sharing. So how can we walk down to it ourselves? As an HR training professional, we do this ourselves. So quite a little bit of conflict I feel at times. Um, but that said, guys, thank you so much for joining me for today's session. And please join the session in the evening, guys. Just want to put in a word to you guys. The session in the evening, there is a lady by the name of Miriam who's going to present on evidence-based design. Absolutely awesome stuff. And the professor with whom she is co-writing this book, evidence-based learning design, is actually a very, very well-known guy. And one of the earlier presentations that we had almost 2 weeks back, a lot of people refer to that gentleman as one of the forerunners of where the learning is going in the future. So a definite must-attend session for everyone who's in the learning design community, guys, not to be missed. And then post this, please look through the schedule, look through the replays, let me know if you face any challenges, and keep spreading the love. Let me quickly be slightly shameless and ask you if there is anyone today who would like to just drop in a testimonial. I'm just in the phase of collecting testimonials for the summit, because we are gearing up to put together the next version of the summit, which is going to come up very soon. uh, there is a link that I have just shared, guys. If any of you feel that, okay, I mean, today is the day I can write you a testimonial for the summit, please feel free, guys. It will really mean a lot to me. Shrikanta, unable to download the book. Let me just quickly see what is wrong with that. So, guys, as I wait for you to click on that link. Alrighty. So, all right. So, guys, I just checked. The book is downloading just fine. Let me share my screen and show you how to go about it. It's the easiest thing that I thought I had built, but of course, it needs more feedback. So here we are. Okay, so this is the page that you see once you download the book. Let me just quickly take you back and show you how you can download the book. So we are on the on the link that I just shared a little earlier, where this is the book and all that great things about it. And this is the button that I need to click where it says download the ebook. I click on that button and something like this kind of pops up. So guess what? I'm going to put in my name, just put a test so that I know it is just a test, and then 20 December. So I know I've done this today, and put this my name, my phone number, select my profile. I'm a chart reading consultant. How would you like to use gamification? So I could say learning if that's my this thing, and I can just click on submit. And if once I click on submit, then these great things start moving, and hopefully it should register me into the database and then take me to a page which is a thank you page, and it says success, thanks for signing up for the book, this and that, and I could download the book right from here. So if I just click on that, alrighty, so this is what is happening. Okay, didn't see that coming. All right, so my bad. Here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the book right here in the handouts area, guys, so no need to do anything there. Let me just pull that book up and stop sharing. All righty. Okay, so just give me a second. I'll just put that book up. Desktop, where would I go? Gamification. Should I not? Gamification. All right, guys, the book is now in the handouts area. Please feel free to just look at the handout area in the chat area. And there is a book sitting for you. Just click on it and it's downloaded for you. So I just saved you some money from Amazon. Sorry, Mr. Jeff Bezos, distributing stuff free here. Okay, Shikanta, yeah, I think there is something that's gone wrong. I'll have to fix that. I don't think I'm muted, so let me know if you still can't hear me, Gurpreet. All right, so book is in the now hands out area, guys. Feel free to just download it from there. Let me know if you are able to download. Okay, so just confirm, Gurpreet, if you are able to download it from the chat area. Fantastic, Kunal. Thank you so much, guys. And I get that hint. So we are way over the clock right now. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. And we'll catch each other again very soon in the Learning Design Summit. Fantastic. I'm just going to leave the room open for a bit for people who want to download the book. But for all purposes, people who have to go do other stuff, please feel free to leave the room. And I'm just going to close the room in another a minute or so. So please take this time to download the book if you need to from the handouts area. Till then, guys, let's keep the energy up, and let's keep meeting in the Learning Design Summit, and let's just help each other out and look at all the great sessions that we various experts are doing and learn from them. All right, Manika, thank you so much, and see you soon in the next session. Thank you, Aditi. Thank you, Gautam. Thank you, Rahirajita. Thank you, Sudhanshu and Chitrangada. See you guys very soon. Thank you, Tanya.